India's competition for foreign capital has just gotten stiffer. Why? Well, because a host of emerging countries are delivering GDP growth rates of 6, 7, 8, 9%, well above the 5% that India is clinging on to. What will it take to rejuvenate foreign investor interest in India? I'm going to put that question to Dr. Montek Singh Ahluwalia, Deputy Chairman of the Planning Commission. You said pretty categorically that nothing is more important to reviving foreign investor interest, indeed investor interest, more important than dealing with the infrastructure. Now, you've got the Cabinet Committee on Investment, and it's going to provide direction, speed, clarity, cohesiveness. But is there going to be a one-year scorecard? Is there a more immediate sort of target for that committee as well?
Well, the whole point of the committee was to address immediate targets. So the committee has already met once, and I think the issue they were looking at was a large number of projects under the new exploration and licensing policy for petroleum. I think about 35 projects. My hope is that they should succeed in clarifying all these issues, I would say for all of those projects, but at least for an overwhelming majority of them. And I think we should have that answer very quickly, because it's within the time frame.
How do you define very quickly?
Certainly within 2 weeks from now.
Okay. You said that the government will be doing everything it can over the next few months to really attract investment. Now, you're privy to the discussions. What are the pillars of this plan? We get the bits that we read in the newspaper. Today it was about easing sectoral FDI caps. But what are the core pillars of this plan to really rejuvenate investment?
Well, newspapers come out every day, so they have to produce something every day.
That's
and
why
it's
I
quite
asked
amusing.
you, what are the core pillars?
Yeah, the core pillars. First of all, the core pillar is there must be credibility that the fiscal balance correction that the finance minister has announced, that we're determined to do it and that we will achieve it. Nobody expects it to be done in 1 year, but they want to see that the economy is back on track, that the fiscal expansionism has been reversed. I think that's very important. Now, government has said that, and now people are always asking, how do you know that he'll achieve the target? That's not a question you can answer. You just have to watch month by month, and my guess is at the end of each quarter, people will have a sense, are we on track or not? That's point one. Point number two is there are many tax-related uncertainties that had emerged last year.
Indeed.
The finance minister has already said that he's taken care of some of them. There are others that he's going to handle. He's even said somewhere that possibly by the time he replies to the finance bill, a lot of other things will be clear. So my hope is that by the time the finance bill reply takes place, foreign investors looking at the issues they're concerned about would feel that yes, all these things are now not only resolved, but resolved satisfactorily. I think there's a very good chance that you're going to see that. Third, a lot of people are concerned that the way ministries work in silos has delayed the clearance of a large number of investment projects. Now, behind every investment project is an investor, and these are big projects. They are sort of thousands of crores. I don't think it's possible to give an impression that we are serious about investment if we don't get these projects moving. And we need to address the problems in a problem-solving approach. Now, when ministries look at things in a silo, and they're giving a clearance or not giving a clearance, they're not really concerned about whether the project succeeds or not. They just look at what is the application of their rules. I think that's not acceptable, and that's why the Cabinet Committee on Investment was set up. Now, I'm hoping that maybe in the next 2 months or so, people will be able to say, well, certainly the Cabinet Committee on Investment has resolved a large number of these problems. I think there's a very good chance that it will. And if that happens, and people will know that India is effectively on the move. You talked about competition. I mean, it's always a competitive world. Definitely China is growing faster than India, although it wants to slow down.
But the spotlight
there are not
that
that
was
many
on India
of course, the
has
spotlight
diffused a bit.
Absolutely, but the spotlight was on India at a time when the world was also booming. The world has turned inward. They've got a lot of problems at home. The image you gave that there are lots of countries growing at 6, 7, 8, that's not true.
Well, one could actually go down a list and get a pretty impressive long list.
I think it's
10
true that in
countries.
Asia, in Southeast Asia, after a prolonged period of slow growth, they've gone up to 6%. About four countries in Southeast Asia.
I'm throwing
have gone
Latin
up to
America
6%.
into the mix as
Yes.
well, parts of Africa into
By
the
all
mix
means,
as
but
well.
to compare India's growth rate in this year, which is about to end, is a loser's game because it's an absolute low.
Dr. Ahluwalia, when will you start? You know, we're starting on a sort of new innings right now, and there is an air of positivity. When will you, as Deputy Chairman of the Planning Commission, begin to get worried again? I mean, are you giving yourself 6 months to assess how we're doing on the current account deficit, how we're doing on the investment push, how we're doing on the infrastructure thrust?
No, I think 6 months is generous. I think in the next 3 months we should be able to say, well, we've tackled a lot of these problems. But since you're offering 6 months, I'll accept 6 months. I mean, you know, that's a pretty good deadline.
So you're actually going to be sitting more on the edge of the chair than I led on. 3
We
months
we should all be leaning forward, if not actually at the edge of the chair.
Well, thank you very much for talking to us today.
Thank you.